All right, let's jump right in, shall we? Today we're diving deep into the world of purslane, and you might be surprised to hear that there's more to this plant than meets the eye.
Oh, absolutely. It's often dismissed as just a weed.
Exactly. We're going to be looking at a blog post, actually. It's called Notes on Gardening, Part 373, a new perspective on transplanting different purslane varieties.
Catchy, catchy.
Right. So this was published just yesterday, December 1st, 2024, on qianmeng.org. It's a blog by a self-described old software plumber who also seems to be quite the passionate gardener.
It sounds like a fun combo.
It really is. And this particular post got me thinking about, how much there is to learn about even the most common plants.
I think that's a sentiment every gardener can relate to.
Definitely. And this post focuses on 3 different varieties of purslane, and the author actually included some photos too, which is really helpful.
Oh, visuals are always great.
So why don't we pull those up so that we can really get into the specifics of each variety?
Sounds good to me.
Great. So first up, let's take a look at the purslane on the left side of the photo.
Okay, I see.
This one is described as having dense foliage, and it's really slow growing, almost succulent-like. The author even recommends planting lots of short cuttings close together to get that really full and lush look.
Makes sense.
What really struck me, though, was just how different its growth habit is from the other 2 varieties.
You're absolutely right. They're quite striking, the contrasts. And it's not just about how they look, right? It's often a reflection of how they've adapted to different environments.
Oh, that's interesting.
For example, that dense, succulent-like growth you mentioned could be a way for the plant to hold on to water,
Oh, okay.
thrive in drier conditions.
Makes you wonder about what the other varieties might be suited for.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so why don't we move on to the middle photo then?
Let's do it.
This one has much larger leaves, and it grows really rapidly. And the author points out the spacing between the nodes on the stems, like what we call internodes.
Right, right.
And for those who might not be familiar with that term, just picture those little bumps you see along the stem, right, where the leaves sprout.
Yep,
The spaces between those bumps are the internodes.
that's it.
And in this variety, those spaces are pretty long, making the stems look kind of leggy.
Yeah, they do.
I see what you mean.
Those long internodes, though, are actually a really important clue to this variety's growth strategy. They're reaching out, like they're trying to compete for sunlight or maybe even climb over other plants.
Oh, okay.
Think of it this way. Fewer points of support along the stem, right? Well, naturally, it's going to want to sprawl out or even hang down.
Oh, I see, I see.
No wonder the author found it to be perfect for hanging pots.
Makes perfect sense. It's like the plant's structure is actually telling us how it wants to grow.
It is. This is a great example of how understanding a plant's form, its structure, can give us really valuable insights into its needs and preferences in the garden.
That's fascinating. Okay, on to the last variety then. In the photo on the right, this one's the odd one out, I think. It's much smaller, thin stems, tiny leaves,
Yeah,
almost like a miniature version of the other 2.
it's very, very petite. And the author compares it actually to moss rose, which, fun fact, is another type of purslane.
I did not know that.
This compact growth habit and that tendency to spread outwards make it ideal for ground cover.
Oh, okay.
Just picture it, creating this lush green carpet, filling in those gaps between other plants.
I can already see how I'd use it in my own garden, tucking it around stepping stones, maybe let it cascade over the edge of a raised bed.
Yeah.
So many possibilities.
Absolutely. And that's what makes gardening so fun, right?
Yeah.
Taking what we learn about these different varieties and putting it into practice.
It really makes you want to get out there and to start experimenting. But before we get to the design ideas, I think it's worth taking a moment to just appreciate what we've learned about purslane varieties just from these photos and the author's observations.
You're right. It really does highlight how much there is to discover, even in a seemingly simple plant like purslane.
Yeah.
And, reminds us that just observing carefully is such a valuable tool for any gardener.
Definitely. Speaking of observation, did you notice how the author actually came across this insight about purslane's different growth habits?
Oh, yeah.
He was pruning and taking cuttings.
It's a great reminder that some of the best lessons come from hands-on experience, working with plants, seeing how they respond.
I think so too.
Even experienced gardeners like the author, he'd been growing purslane for a whole year, can still make new discoveries.
That's what I love about gardening. Always something new to learn, something new to try. It's a continuous process of discovery.
It really is.
And, I mean, it doesn't require fancy equipment or a huge garden or anything. You can literally start with a few cuttings in a pot.
Absolutely.
It's accessible to anyone with some curiosity and a willingness to, get their hands a little dirty.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of getting creative, those photos have really got me thinking about design possibilities. We talked about hanging pots for that leggy variety, but imagine it cascading over a wall or trailing down from a tall planter.
Oh, that would be stunning. And, the contrast in textures, with that dense, succulent-like variety planted nearby, it'd be like a living sculpture.
You're getting it. And then picture that miniature variety, weaving its way through a rock garden, or maybe even used as a vibrant green border along a pathway. Suddenly, these common weeds become these design elements with real impact.
It's amazing how shifting your perspective can change everything.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's such a powerful message for any gardener, no matter their experience level.
I completely agree. But, we're just scratching the surface here. What else stood out to you from the blog post?
Well, I was particularly fascinated by how the author prepares the cuttings for each variety, especially for the one with those long internodes. He has this, well, slightly different technique to make sure those sprawling stems develop strong roots. I think our listeners would be interested in that. It gets a little more technical, but
Oh, definitely.
yeah,
Let's dive into that next.
it's all about those root nodes, you see. With that leggier variety, the author actually pinches off the lower leaves before he plants the cuttings.
Oh, interesting. Wouldn't you want more leaves for photosynthesis?
You would think, right. But, well, here's the thing. By removing those lower leaves, he's actually encouraging the plant to focus its energy on root development.
Oh, I see.
Along that bare section of stem, those nodes where the leaves were, they're just primed to sprout new roots.
So it's like giving the rooting process a little boost. Makes sense, especially for a plant that wants to sprawl like that.
Exactly. He even mentions using a rooting hormone, specifically for this variety, just to give it that extra edge.
This is what I love about gardening. You can have all the book knowledge in the world, but it's those hands-on experiments, those little tweaks and adjustments that can make all the difference.
Couldn't agree more. This blog post, it's not just about purslane varieties. It's about that constant learning process. It's an invitation to observe, experiment, refine our techniques.
And you know what I love? It doesn't require some fancy setup or a huge garden. You can literally just start with some cuttings in a pot.
Oh, absolutely.
It's accessible to anyone, who's got a little curiosity and a willingness to get their hands dirty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting creative, those photos have really got me thinking about design.
Right.
We talked about hanging pots for the leggy one, but imagine it cascading over a wall or trailing down from a tall planter.
Oh, I love that. And the contrast you'd get, with that dense, succulent-like variety planted nearby, almost like a living sculpture.
You're getting it.
Yeah.
And then picture that miniature variety, the one that's like moss rose weaving through a rock garden.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe used as a bright green border along a path.
Yeah.
Those weeds become design elements.
It's all about how you look at it, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's a great takeaway for any gardener, no matter how much experience they have.
Absolutely. So, to all our listeners out there, we challenge you to take a fresh look at your own gardens, even those weedy patches along the side of the road,
You never know what hidden gems you might find. Something waiting to be appreciated, maybe even incorporated into your own garden.
It's amazing how one little blog post about purslane can get you thinking in so many new directions.
It really is inspiring.
Yeah.
And it speaks volumes, about the power of just sharing knowledge.
Definitely. It makes you think, right? Like one person's gardening experiment can spark all these ideas in someone else's garden, somewhere else entirely.
That's the beauty of it. And that's what we hope to do with this deep dive, too.
Exactly.
Encourage folks to not just listen, but to go out and try these things for themselves.
Exactly. Get those hands dirty, right?
Exactly. And then share what they learned, too.
Yeah. It all comes back to that sense of wonder and, always learning, always experimenting.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And who knows, maybe one of our listeners out there will be the one to discover the next big thing about purslane.
Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it? Some new variety or some incredible new way to grow it.
You never know.
Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of purslane, we want to leave you with a little challenge.
Challenge.
Yeah. Take what we've learned about these three varieties, how they grow, their unique little quirks, and just let your imagination run wild.
I like it.
Imagine you've got an empty garden bed, or even just a few pots on a balcony.
Right, I'm picturing it.
How would you combine these different types of purslane, to create something really beautiful and that will thrive?
Hmm.
Would you go for big, bold contrasts or something a little more subtle and harmonious? What about textures?
Lots of options.
Cascades of foliage, or a tapestry of ground-hugging plants? It's up to you.
I love it.
So sketch out some ideas, experiment a bit, try different things, and most importantly,
Don't forget to have fun.
exactly. And if you're up for it, share what you create. Tag us on social media, send us pictures, tell us about your successes and even your failures.
We're all in this together, right?
Absolutely, it's all part of the learning process.
So there you have it. From a humble weed to a whole world of possibilities, Purslane has shown us that there's always something new to discover, even in those seemingly ordinary plants we see every day.
It's all about keeping our eyes open, isn't it?
It is.
We hope this deep dive has inspired you to look at your gardens with fresh eyes, to embrace the joy of trying new things, and to never stop learning.
Happy gardening, everyone.